On the 624th day of the war in Ukraine, the fighting was concentrated in these areas. In Zaporizhzhia front, during the last 48 hours, battles intensified near Verbove and Robotine. In the past few days, Ukrainian forces resumed their offensive operations near Verbove, and according to the latest geolocated footage, Ukrainians were able to make significant advances in two directions. Initially, Ukrainian forces launched counterattacks in the areas between Novoprokopivka and Verbove, where they were successful in pushing back the Russian forces from their advanced positions north of the Surovikin line. Geolocated footage taken by Russian drones showed that some of the Ukrainian infantry forces made it as far as the anti-tank ditch, where they were seen operating in an area which is only 200 meters away from the manned Russian trenches. Northwest of Verbove, Ukrainian forces were successful in clearing a series of positions and tree lines, gaining almost 2 square kilometers northwest of Verbove and southwest of Novopokrovka. Ukrainian forces were able to succeed thanks to the massive and accurate artillery support. According to the footage published by Ukrainian sources, during their operations northwest of Verbove, heavy clashes took place between the Russian forces and elements of the Karadag Brigade of the Ukrainian army. During the operation, the Ukrainian ground forces were covered by the Ukrainian artillery fire, and thanks to that, they managed to move forward and caused heavy casualties to the Russian forces. In the areas between Robotine and Novoprokopivka, the battles have recently reignited, with both sides reportedly suffering heavy losses. Some pro-Russian sources reported over massive Ukrainian armored losses near this area, but in reality the truth is a bit different. Low-effort pro-Russian sources published a few photos claiming that they show dozens of destroyed and damaged Ukrainian equipment, which were lost recently during the battles near Robotine. However, if we look closely at the photos, we can see that these sources are just counting the same lost equipment shown in different photos and angles. For example, on the first photo the Russian sources claimed at least 4 destroyed Ukrainian equipment. In fact, we can only see a M113, which obviously belongs to the Ukrainian forces and was damaged by a Russian FPV drone. Near to its right, we have a visibly old loss, which is hard to detect from this photo, but it still got considered a Ukrainian loss. Behind it we have a small pile of concrete pyramids marked with a light blue circle, which will serve us to identify the second photo and expose the lies of the Russian sources. On the right half of the photo there are 2 other losses, one clearly a very old one, and the other which is unclear if it belongs to the Ukrainian or Russian forces, but both were counted as Ukrainian losses, with the later counted twice. Here on the second photo, we have the very same M113, which was counted again for a second time as a Ukrainian loss. As shown by the marks on the photo and the small pyramids, it is the same location and the same vehicles that were shown in the first picture. Now here is the moment where the Ukrainian armored vehicle gets hit by the Russian FPV drone. As we can see, the nearby vehicle counted twice as the Ukrainian loss is in fact a very old loss and likely a Russian Bukhanka van. Now, at the right side of the photo we have a tank which gets counted 3 times as a Ukrainian loss. Look carefully at the markings on the tank and the visible burn marks on the ground behind the tank. Here on the third picture we have the same tank marked in orange, which is counted for a second time, and in the lower right marked in green we have the same AFV shown on the first picture, which again was counted as a Ukrainian loss. Notice the spots marked in light blue circles because they perfectly match the next and our fourth picture. Here we have the same tank shown on the second picture, marked in orange and counted as a Ukrainian loss for a third time. Notice how the marks on the tank and on the ground match those shown on the second picture. And on the right we have a pair of the reportedly Ukrainian tank and armored vehicle, which was shown on the third picture, again counted twice. So, in conclusion, 5 of the destroyed equipment shown on the pictures were counted twice as being Ukrainian losses, with one of them being actually Russian. Also, one of the tanks was counted 3 times as a Ukrainian loss, when in fact it is the same tank shown on 3 different angles. Among the other destroyed equipment, a few of them are visibly old and some are not easy to identify unless we have a clear video footage. But apparently for the Russian sources, a new photo and a new angle of the same destroyed equipment count as a new loss. Friends, if you like my daily updates, I kindly ask you to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as this will greatly help the channel to reach a wider audience. That's all for today's update. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and have a great day.